All right, good morning. Welcome to the July 17th, 2025 meeting of the Muncie Redevelopment Commission. I will call this meeting to order, and we will start with roll call.
Bottom of the page now.
Yes, now it's at the bottom of the page.
We are putting on our agendas and on our memoranda the appointing authority of the members, their term, the name, and then a checkbox for you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it used to be in alphabetical order, so it's easier to read than it is now. That's okay. Mr. Bishop.
Here.
Mr. Dale.
Present.
Mr. Miller, I am here. Mr. Probilla.
Here.
And Ms. Wagley.
Yes.
And Mr. Lowe. Good morning. We'll go ahead and look over the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor to approve it as presented. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Bishop.
Yes.
Mr. Dale.
Yes.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Probilla.
Yes.
Ms. Wagley.
Yes.
Wonderful. We'll move on to the approval of the previous meeting memoranda. You all should have a copy of that in your packets today. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I reviewed the minutes, and under item 7 and 8, both interlocal agreements, on both of those, there were questions that were asked that are not noted in the minutes. On the Delaware County tax sale interlocal agreement, there was substantial conversation about land bank. President Miller acknowledged that he wasn't necessarily I won't use pleased, but that the county wasn't interested in any type of involvement with the land bank. And then on the other item, under sanitary district, I had asked several questions about a loan or a grant. I just think those things need to be noted. And on both instances, I know I abstained, and it's noted that I abstained, but I abstained because I asked for more time than a day and a half to review those agreements before we voted, so.
I'll point out that at the bottom, the last sentence on the agenda, or on the memoranda, tells people that they, and there is a, well, it's not a link because it's on paper, but there is a access to the full video of the meeting that people can review it. This is a record of the actions that were taken, as is customary in Robert's Rules of Order and other governance models.
Yeah, what I'm stating is it's a low bar, it's not even a bar, and that I think these things need to be added. So I would move that these additions be made, and that would be made in a motion.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second for that motion? Hearing none, the motion dies. Do I have a motion for approval of the memoranda in any capacity?
Motion to approve as is.
Okay, there's a motion to approve as is. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay, motion and a second. Mr. Bishop.
Abstain?
Mr. Dale.
No.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Probilla.
Yes.
And Ms. Wagley.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on with the claims from Mr. Wright.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Sent out the claims yesterday. With it, on the email that I sent out, I did make note of all the bond payments that were on the claims this month, and there are several on there. So with that, I'll just open up to any questions anybody would have.
I just want to say thanks for the email with the clarification. That's always helpful to see.
I think I'm going to do that moving forward, the higher dollar claims, just briefly.
Yeah,
State.
those are usually what we bug you about anyway, right?
Yeah.
Typically. Thank you so much for that. Any comments or questions about the claims this morning?
I don't know if this is necessarily a question for you, Craig. The only thing I noticed was that we were using 4 different landscapers over the past month for things. I didn't know if there was a rhyme or reason to splitting it up versus maybe, I don't know, maybe getting a better quote if we used one.
Not to my knowledge, or not. I would assume it's just, spread the wealth, among other landscapers. But I have no clue why we have several of them. Just, approving the invoices. They're all different properties throughout.
Thank you.
I know that I've been approached just as a member of the commission by different smaller landscapers who are just looking to pick up any contract, like kind of just get their foot in the door, I think. And so when they can pick up kind of like one-off lots or smaller lots. If those are available and our bigger contractors don't want them, I would assume we kind of pass those down. That may be a question more so for the mayor's office than me, but that's
Yeah.
just been my experience too, so.
We'll say that one of the landscapers that was listed on there was a group that was helping out with the kids at the parks on the summer program.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Do we have a motion about the claims?
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the claims. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second, okay. Mr. Bishop,
Yes.
Mr. Dale,
Yes.
Mr. Miller, yes. Mr. Probilla?
Yes.
And Ms. Wagley?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Thank
Okay, we'll
you.
move on to the report from the city from Mr. Howe.
I'm going to pass out the financial stuff and then give you the updates.
Thank you. Yeah, I got you. Take one down.
Me, my notes here. Obviously, as everybody that's walked in the room this morning has said, it seems like we were just here, because we were just here. Over the past 3 weeks, quite a bit of time balancing several opportunities and obviously a lot of ongoing, smaller things to deal with as well. So in addition to the major things we'll talk about, there are several smaller projects as well. The Point, which is going to be known as High Point Station, which is across the street here. You can see that the green space is underway, and the progress kind of ebbs and flows, I think, depending on weather and other projects that are going at the same time. But we continue to hammer out details on the economic development agreement for High Point Station. As you may recall, it's going to be 54 market rate apartments and approximately 15,000 square feet of commercial and restaurant space, combined with the planned green space. The project will have parking for the residents, and aside from the resident parking, there'll be 85 parking spaces, 71 spaces in the project itself, and then about 14 on-street parking. Still waiting to hear from final word on Ready 2, but again, as I said, we're very, very optimistic that is going to come through, and that'll help with some development on the Old West End as well that we're doing with the land bank and intend. So more to come. We had given them the proposed terms of our economic development agreement. They've given us a response to that yesterday afternoon. I can tell that for the most part, what we propose to them works. There are a couple of points, I think there's a couple of little friction points that we'll work through, but I think we'll get something done here fairly quickly on that. And then, again, we're just waiting for the Ready 2. Muncie Mall just received more detail about the planned development of the mall property. Project is also contingent, or at least somewhat weighted on the receipt of the Ready Lilly funding, and we have obviously no decision on that as well. I'm looking at and sketching out some alternative ways that may get that project underway. As you know, at the last meeting, we did approve the TIF funds released. That obviously hasn't happened yet, but we have approval to do that to help with some of that initial phase 1 stuff to get the thing started.
Hey Jeff, just on that note about the mall,
Uh-huh.
so we're releasing once they begin demolition, correct?
We're releasing once they've done work. We are reimbursing them for work that gets done.
Okay, and did they give you a timeline on that work yet?
They said at that time, somewhere between the last meeting and today, I don't remember exactly when it was, they said they were looking at maybe being able to do something 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay.
So they've got engineering folks have been working on it, I think have given them some high level, yes, this is how this ought to get done.
Sure.
Because they obviously, as they're tearing off 2 buildings out there, they have to make sure they don't damage
The rest of it?
the rest of it. So, yeah, so they're stuff that I don't necessarily understand or need to, but they're working on that.
Okay.
but they have sent me a plan that I think will outline all of the phases, all of the developments. I got it, again, fairly recently, and so we'll be able to kind of stage when things will happen, what the effect of those things will happen on the assessed value, and then the tax increment as well. But I maybe mentioned this at the last meeting. I know I mentioned it the other day in another meeting. The mall assessment is, I think, maybe down from 35 million down to 4.7. So I think anything that happens there
Yeah.
moves that assessed value up. And obviously, it's been probably close to, just spitballing, about probably $1 million in property taxes that don't come in now because of that assessment.
Sure.
So-
If you wouldn't mind, would you be willing to invite the mall team to come to one of our meetings to present some of that stuff when they're
Yeah,
ready?
yeah.
I think that'd be helpful. I get asked about this mall TIF stuff almost all the time. I think it's the most common question I get asked. I think it'd be helpful just
Yeah.
to have them present on it.
Yeah, that's
if they're
actually been
available.
kind of the plan as we work through but we've been waiting for them to get us this plan, and then at some point, we'll get them to tell you their story.
Great.
Do we know the reason for the loss in assessment?
Well, yeah, I mean, the fact that the building's been empty and I mean, it's the decline of the Muncie Mall that's happened over the last 25 years.
When was the $35 million
Oh, I
assessment?
can't tell you. I'm just told that it wants assessed for about $35 million.
So, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
And I mean, it went into, essentially bankruptcy at one point, so.
Well,
I
that
mean,
doesn't affect the vacancy and assessment, or in bankruptcy and vacancy shouldn't affect the assessment, right?
No. I'm
Okay.
just saying, like, generally, there's just been this large trend of it going downward for a long period of time, which I think is the largest factor in all of it. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you look at appraising a commercial real estate thing, you're looking at the revenue approach, the cost approach. I mean, and it's, quite frankly, $35 million, whenever that was, whether that was a decade ago or a decade and a half ago or 2 decades ago, in today's dollars would be significantly more.
Sure.
Sorry, I thought you were saying it was just reassessed from
No,
35 to 4.
No. Sorry about that. Yeah. No, that's over time.
Got it.
That's,
Thank
yeah.
you.
North Walnut Street, I think we are at the cusp of a deal for that. That is not a property that we own, but that is a property that we've been trying to market and likely going to become a multi-use building, housing up to maybe half a dozen businesses of some kind. Prospective buyers express interest in having conversations about the partnership I talked about last time with the school, about maybe doing some student-led enterprise there to help the schools meet the new 150-hour work experience requirement.
Jeff?
Actually,
Sorry, what building are you talking about?
620 North Walnut Street,
Which is
that,
right across from the Y, the new Y.
So the city owns it.
the Concannons.
The city owns it.
So we own it. Okay, you
The
just
city.
said we don't own it.
We don't.
Not the
The city owns it. The MRC does.
Oh, this, well,
Yeah.
okay.
GMAT actually owns it, but yes. So, so we're working through those, and I think our legal counsel is working on purchase agreement and helping us through that process. Because like I say, we've been trying to find somebody to occupy it, but it's not ours. So Ben's going to help us figure out how to get that transaction done. I've had some, continue to have conversations. I feel like I keep saying this, but it continues to be true. Continue to have some conversations with developers about 80 to 100 room hotels. Had one 2 days ago on the phone. I think they're coming in next week. We're still kind of working on that. We are having some discussion with some property owners in the downtown area, so we can figure out how we get the right location, and likely one that we don't own. So we're trying to get to how do we barter, how do we trade, how do we work this out, kind of thing. So we're working on that. But the big thing is finding somebody who's interested, figuring out where it needs to be built, and then figure out how we get that built. And We've shown them other properties that where buildings already exist. And what we're finding is, and probably everyone has said, the retrofit of those buildings don't work. And so everybody really wants to do ground up, whether that means we find a lot that we can get our hands on, or we find a building. We being the collective, everybody who might be trying to get this to happen, a collective, find a building that needs to be demoed, but somebody coming in and trying to retrofit a building seems to be of very little interest. So, I think mentioned this last time, but the village project that we had been working on, the large project, has kind of stalled at this point, although I did get an email from Ball State University yesterday to maybe assemble a group to have a meeting whenever we can. I'm not sure when we'll be able to do that, but here in the next week to figure out how that might resurrect. So I don't know whether it will be or can be, but we'll work through that because it is as you can imagine, a math problem, and we'll have to work through that. Market rate housing development, we are working with two developers at this point that are looking at building, I think, in aggregate 165 homes in the 300,000 and above. These are very promising conversations. I really believe these will happen. We're working through some of the details of that and how that might get done, but that would be, and this would be an example where we would leverage the relationship with the sanitary district to help us get that project done if needed. And we have a very recent conversation, an ongoing conversation with someone to build a 100-unit senior housing development in the near downtown area. And so kind of more to come on that. There's a lot yet to get worked out, but the developers are very eager to find a way to get that done because they'd like to get something started fairly soon. And in that particular case, it's a great trade-off. New building at a place where the building that's there really needs to not be there anymore. So, that'll be a good thing. The other thing I have is that appeared in an article, and Mr. Pavell and I spoke about this the other day, in the July Realtor.com, I guess it's a newsletter, it's called News and Insights. Article highlights Muncie. Indiana is one of the top 10 cities experiencing significant home price growth in 2025. Actually, Muncie was number 5. Muncie is recognized for its double-digit year-over-year price gains, with homes values rising sharply due to continued buyer demand, limited housing inventory, and the city's median home price has climbed. Now, obviously, this is a kind of depends on how you want to look at it kind of thing. But we are seeing some increase in the values. So it mentions that Muncie's affordability of living is one of the driving factors for the demand here. So, and we know we've had discussions and we've had access to some information that we've gotten from the economics department of Ball State that we have 10,000-ish people that come in to work and leave every day. And we believe, and I think the university has articulated the same thing. It's a matter of having the right places for people to live, to be able to stay here and live here and not leave at the end of the day. So again, we continue to work through that. And it probably solves a little bit of the math problem that Senate Bill 1 is going to cause for the city. So we're continuing to work on those. So I think that's all I have.
Jeff, this is another random question I had that I should have asked you earlier, so I apologize if you're not ready to answer, but is all our commitments with the skate park finished now, I'm assuming?
I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so.
Cool, just want to make sure on that. Thank you.
Any update on Till Pond?
I do not. But Till Pond's not ours. We provided some support for that, but you know, putting the contract out for bid and working through those final costs and getting contracted to do that has really not been, you know, I tried to help a little bit with the bidding process, but other than that, we're really, you know, we may have, I don't know, Shereen, do you know, have we contracted for that?
Yeah.
Is that- yeah.
Yeah, the contract was awarded, and to my knowledge, they've started working on it.
Okay, so I would suggest that probably it's just a matter of where we fall in the schedule for the contractor, which happens.
Is that a Parks Department project at this point, or who's over that project?
Adam Leach,
City engineer.
City engineer.
city engineer.
I'll take another drive-by. Thank you.
Anything else on updates, Jeff? Any other questions from the commission?
I don't think I have anything else.
Okay, why don't we move on to property purchase apps if you have any?
Don't have any. Like I say, we leave it as kind of a marker there, but we don't because I have allowed people to in the past to come up kind of close because some of these properties, as you guys have been very small properties, small purchases, little work, just want to extend my yard or those kind of things. So I haven't put a hard deadline on when I have to have those things. Anything gets more complicated, I need to know ahead of time so we can kind of take a look at it. So we kind of leave it out there in case somebody comes in. But and quite frankly, my thought is at some point, is as we look at the properties that we have, and we've had this discussion before, as we look at the properties we've had, I want to find out which ones. I'm going to take a look at which ones we have that don't necessarily. The best path for us to get to a large development, right? Whether it's affordable housing. And if they don't bring really any value to that transaction as far as being able to, they weren't foreclosed properties, they weren't tax deed properties, we're probably going to try to get those into the hands of the land bank. And we've talked about that, and it hasn't happened yet, but I've been busy. But we're going to try to see if we can get those in and then we probably would, in an ideal world, I don't know that we'll ever get here, because I may find flaws in this thinking as we move forward, but in an ideal world, we probably won't deal with these, small single lots. What we have, we'll have to be able to put into a bigger transaction to build more houses, and the ones that are going to be these one-off things will probably end up over there, and they'll deal with those, and because they'll be then vetting buyers that are going to build a home or a store or whatever. So that's kind of where I hope to get to at some point. But it's not going to happen overnight just because there's
Sure.
a lot of other things that are cooking at the same time.
Okay.
What's the current status of the facade grant being launched?
Our legal counsel is putting together the grant agreement, and I got everything we needed from you guys, and I've given that to Ben. I did a kind of a, Ben will have to probably weigh on how rough, but I give a real rough what that grant agreement might look like, so then he has something to kind of edit, tear up and restart or whatever, but he's working on getting that done, so we expect to have that fairly soon. So, and then we'll get, I've talked to communications and IT about how we get that stuff on our website. So, but I can't do it, so I'm going to have somebody else help me get that done.
Sure.
I don't know how to do it.
Thank you guys for your hard work on that, on the committee, Steve and Zane and the whole committee. It's a big thing.
Yeah, people are very interested.
Yeah.
I get a lot of calls,
I get asked
people
often.
that are interested in applying.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they worked pretty hard, and they made some, I think, notable, I think, changes in what had been, but I think all very supportive. Like I say, I put that thing together and they've improved it. So I think it's going to be a good program. We just need to, now it's making sure we have the documentation in the right format. And
Okay. Why don't we move forward with the Muncie Land Bank update from Mr. Howard? Or Mr. Gullion too. He did great last month, so either way.
Good morning, Nate Howard from the Muncie Land Bank. Excuse me. We feel like we've got enough from the IECD to be able to start moving forward in the Old West End, so we're going to transfer first swath of properties to in 10 next week, and they're talking about starting breaking ground hopefully by the end of this year, or before the end of this year. So that's encouraging. And we're also waiting for final approval, but I think we've got 2 properties that we're wanting to swap out. That we have houses that we've assessed, they're structurally in good shape, and we'd like to, instead of having to demolish those and then rebuild, actually offer those to the public for rehab, and then switch in these properties, which will be built on as part of the Old West End project. This is kind of grant season for us, so we've submitted a couple proposals, one to Centerpoint Energy and to Ball Brothers Foundation, supporting our work in the Old West End and then also in Whiteley and Industry. Those are the 2 other neighborhoods that we prioritized in the near future here. We had Jim Smith from Indiana Title come in for First Friday, talked about inheritance planning, really informative. This coming August, we got a grant from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation to basically do a deep dive into assessing the impacts of the tax sale in neighborhoods with the highest rates of abandonment and vacancy. And so we're going to have a kickoff event for that August 8th. So it's not actually August 1st, which is the first Friday. We're going to move it back one Friday due to scheduling conflict. And then lastly, we're getting prepared for working with the third-year planning studio from Ball State's Urban Planning Department, and they're going to be helping us do a quality of life survey in both Industry and Whiteley, and then also kind of like a corridor comprehensive development plan. We'll be looking at housing development, green space development, community space development, connectivity, and then that'll kind of inform our strategy as far as trying to acquire property in those areas, smaller corridors, not the whole neighborhood. Any questions or comments?
Do you have any further details on what you said about dealing with IEDC and the Old West End? You said you felt pretty positive about what you'd heard from them. Is there other things you could share?
No, I mean, I don't want to, this is Jeff and the mayor, they're the ones that are having conversations. Just that we've got it enough to feel like
Good.
with intent internally that we can make this transfer
Nice.
and start moving forward.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
Any other questions for Mr. Howard? Okay,
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Mhm.
All right, we will move forward with public comment. Each speaker has 2 minutes each. 2 minutes each, excuse me.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Charles Jameson, taxpayer. Just 3 questions. First of all, what specific Ball State project has stalled, Jeff? You mentioned that, and I wasn't sure. There's a lot going on at Ball State. What project has stalled specifically?
I don't know, I'm at liberty to say. Part of the development up there. I mean, there's some phases, so, yeah.
We're not at liberty to say, okay?
I don't know that I am, so I'm going to err on the side of not.
Okay. Number 2, the old YMCA development. I have not heard anything, and I drive by there almost daily. I haven't seen anything going on. What's going on? And is that not the same crew that's going to be working on that's working on the townhomes on Walnut?
No.
No? Different crew? Okay. So what's going on with the old YM would be my question.
Do you want to answer during your public comment time or during the commissioner's comments time? I don't want to take your time. If you would like to ask a different question, then.
If one of the commissioners will ask, I'll be glad to wait till then.
Okay.
And number 3, a comment about Tilpon. And, you know, I don't want to nitpick, and I don't want to misstate or misunderstand, but I think the comment was made that we've helped financially but it's not ours. I believe that's what I heard. If we helped financially, being the city of Muncie or the MRC specifically, that's taxpayer dollars, and it is ours. And we need to keep up on what's happening. We just don't wash our hands of it. I know I've said this about other projects multiple times, but you get my point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We are not doing the construction at the Till Pond. We have provided financial support. I don't have a mower. I'm not going out there. I'm not hoeing out the plants that need to be removed from there. I'm not digging a trench. We have handed that off. The city engineer is overseeing that. There is not a good use of time for me to walk out there and watch people do construction. We've entrusted them to do that. When you contribute to things, I'm sure that you don't go out to every charity that you donate money to and make sure that you're looking over their shoulder every day. So, I mean, this is just how it works. And that's a disingenuous commentary. We are not managing that project.
Okay.
We just don't.
Before we move forward, we are still in public comment. I want to make sure there's no one else that had public comment today. Was there anybody else? Seeing none. Okay. We'll move on from public comment into commissioner comments, or Jeff, if you'd like to give commentary as well, I welcome that. Is that all you had on Till Pond? Do you have more?
Yes.
Okay. The only update I have in response to the question about the Y development is that he was working on engineering on the inside of the building. Is that correct, Jeff? Versus the outside. He also, if we'll recall, in the agreement we made with him, he's responsible not for the towns on Walnut, but the property over by the canal. That's where he's going to build his townhome type plan, whatever that was. And I believe his intentions were to get that done first before he moved over to finish out the Y, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't think there's anything else on that, but I know he did have active engineering being worked on the inside of the old Y. Last we talked to him within that's probably been the last month, I would say.
And there's an element and often a misunderstanding. We don't control property that we don't control. So, I mean, we don't. And if things, if I've had people say, hey, we don't want to buy this because we don't want to control it. Can you fix that down there? We don't own that. So the same thing applies. If we don't own it, we don't control it. And no, we do have, and there are some performance things in there, and they'll have to do it, or it'll end up being done by somebody else. Sure. But we aren't managing the construction of those. And I know he met with the city, not the city engineer, with the building commissioner to get whatever he needed, authorization, however, whatever format that's in, to start doing some light demo inside, which was going to expose the structural stuff so he could take a look at and work through the engineering on that. And I think the pool has given them a bit of fits.
Yeah.
And he's here often.
Yeah.
I mean, we see him usually every time he's in town,
Yeah.
and he's here often
Yeah.
doing whatever he does to
Right,
do his work.
right.
But your question about the two companies, they both kind of came on the scene about the same time.
That's true.
Crew is one, CRU, which is a North Walnut, three local guys, two local guys,
Yeah.
young guys that have that company. TRU is Sean that owns the Y from Texas, I think.
Colorado.
Wherever. Yeah, so TRU and CRU. It took me a while to get them because they both came on the scene at the same time. So two different companies.
If I recall, I think they even both bid on the Y
Yeah.
project or something similar
Yeah.
at one point. So that adds to the confusion. The only other commissioner comment I had was just an update from the Delaware County Historic Society. They did say that the Cohen Memorial that we approved, the memorial placard, I guess there's been some severe delays with the State Historical Society and the company or manufacturer that makes the Historic Society signs for like the whole state of Indiana. They're way behind. There's actually a few in town that need to be fixed or updated that still need it as well. So I believe their tentative timeline that they had heard from the State Historic Society, if I'm recalling correctly, was like mid-2026 before they would have that sign ready to be planted on our MRC-owned lot over there by the roundabout on Walnut. So I think we approved that last year, actually, so I've been waiting to see it pop up, and it hasn't popped up yet. So hopefully next summer, it'll be installed. Any further commentary from the commissioners today?
I've got a couple of comments.
Go ahead.
You know, when it comes to the Y and the Till Pond, you know, if it wasn't for the MRC's participation, those projects wouldn't necessarily be happening. So, you know, to say initially when Mr. Howe was talking during the updates, it was, we've helped with grant writing and such. But in essence, we have provided funding. So there is no project that the city does or the MRC does where they go out and shovel themselves and do the actual project. We enable things through sustenance of money. So it is our projects. So in the sense of Till Pond and the YMCA, I think updates are adequate. And the idea that, you know, it's not ours, so that isn't really important, I don't think that's true. I think an update is good. I think the public deserves it. That's public treasury going into those projects. The second thing is just a recommendation. I wouldn't bring up that something is stalled with the Ball State project if we can't further talk about it, because it's just a provocative statement at that point and leads for more questions. I just wouldn't put myself in that position if I were the director of the MRC, because there's no reason. It just provokes questions that can't be answered because you evidenced confidentiality. So just a suggestion that it gets us wondering and gets us asking questions, but there's nowhere to go on that. Just
But
a
at the same
suggestion.
time, if it's not mentioned, then the public's going to ask, so.
Well, they'll ask eventually, but I would just suggest that if you're going to bring something up, that you have something that you can actually share that sates the public's inquisitivity.
You would do it your way.
That's fine. It's a suggestion. It's a suggestion. I mean, I thought it was a very good question by Ms. Jamison.
Okay. Is there any further discussion by the commissioners this morning? Okay, seeing none, we are adjourned. See you next month. Thank you so much.